Hey everybody, it's James here from NeuralNet Games, and today we're talking Prosperity 2 items. This is the second video for Prosperity 2. I split it in half. This is item discussion video number 7 in the item discussion video series. If you missed the first half, it's video number 6. I'll put a link down in the description to the playlist. So what are we doing today? We're talking about items. We're talking about why they're good, why they're bad, how they work, maybe a few rules that you need to pay attention to, a few strategies, that kind of stuff. Let's call it a reasonable amount of detail for these particular items. And the items we're talking about today are small items, so the minor mana potion and stun powder. And then we're also talking about the leg slot, so the boots of speed. And then finally, we're talking about the torso slot, and that'll be the Cloak of Pockets. And I just want to let everybody know I'm working on, the outline's already done. I'm doing a Prosperity 1 tier list. And so that should be coming out soon. So make sure you're subscribed so that, you get a notification when that comes out. And then I'm going to move through and do tier lists for every prosperity. And then I think I'm actually going to do them by slot too. So I'll do like a tier list for the hand slot or the head slot or, all of them. But, those are examples. Okay, I'm wandering off course here. Let's get started. Let's get to talking about the first item. The first item we're talking about is the minor mana potion. The minor mana potion, very useful, not super powerful though, but good in people's kits, let's call them. And especially if you're running something like the Cloak of Pockets where you can carry a bunch of extra small items, this is a very good item to carry with you, even if you're not going to use it for yourself. So because of element generation rules, you can use your minor mana potion for a friend. So I actually find that you use the minor mana potion more often for an ally than for yourself, because if you use it for yourself, you've got to, use that element next turn. But if you're just early in the initiative order, you can use it, and then your buddy who's going next can just pop off and use that element and, do a fun effect. So it's really good for team synergy, helps pull off combos, helps you overall, it helps your party become more powerful. It's probably about in the range of a healing potion or a power potion. It's not as good as a stamina potion. It's really good for an early level Spellweaver. Spellweaver really struggles to create elements early on, the right elements. And so it's really nice to have this minor mana potion when you're the Spellweaver so that you can, empower ice for cold fire or whatever it may be. And it's just something that can help you, kind of get started as the Spellweaver. So yeah, it's a good item overall. It's great to have in, bigger parties, and if you've got some spare kind of room in your small item kit, great there. It does scale well because, it helps you empower elements, and so you can consume them to power up cards. And as you get higher in level, your cards get more powerful. So it does scale pretty well. It does have some pretty serious competition, though, at Prosperity 6. But overall, just a good, useful item that is going to help you get a lot of things done. The next item I want to talk about is stun powder. Stun powder is just a good solid item at 20 gold. It's not flashy, but it can be used pretty much by any class at any point in time, and it doesn't have opportunity cost to take it because it's a small item, right? If this was a head slot item, no. Although it still wouldn't be terrible, it wouldn't be nearly as good. At level 9, you can hold 5 small items, 7 with the Cloak of Pockets. Taking 1/7 of one slot versus an entire slot, that makes a big difference. So whenever you're thinking about items and how good they are, make sure you're taking into account that opportunity cost. So yeah, stun powder, much better at lower player counts. There's less monsters at lower player counts, so stunning a monster has a little bit of a greater effect. If there's 2 monsters there and you stun one, that's 50%. If there's 6, that's a lot less. What is that? 17%? Close. Don't work me over about math in the comments. It's close to that. I should have picked an easier number. I could have picked 5. I literally could have picked 5 for 20%. Hindsight, right? So it's better at lower player counts, and it's just one of those items that is going to help you in, situations that arise that you didn't plan for. So for example, you think you've got things under control, a monster pulls like a crazy card that's really going to mess with your plans. You go, okay, I'm going to use the stun powder on this guy. I'm going to modify my plans and stun this monster because he's being a real jerk this round. And don't forget that if you're using an AoE, you can, attack 3 monsters and just use it to stun one of them, the one that's going to cause the most problems. So overall, I probably say this too much. It's a bit of a Swiss Army knife. It's just going to be very useful because you can wait until you see what the monsters are going to do before you decide to use it. So you usually get pretty good effect out of it. How well does stun powder scale? It scales very well. Stunning is the most powerful effect. You're always going to be able to stun. As monsters get more powerful, stunning stays the same, and so it scales all the way through. I think that a lot of classes can really find a spot for this really at any point in time through their journey. Next, we have the Boots of Speed. These are a little bit expensive for what they do, and some classes you're just like, whatever, I'm never going to use these. But other classes, we're talking, the one that comes to mind is the Saw class. No spoilers here. Don't worry, I wouldn't do that to you. But some classes have really good combos, but those cards have crap initiative, just to be frank. You want to play a card and one's got 42 initiative and you want to play it with another card that's got 47 initiative and you're like, I don't want to gamble. I talk about this in some of my other beginner videos. I think I talk about it in my 9 beginner tips video. I'll put a link down in the description. I hope that's the one. But anyways, the problem is that you very often can't gamble when you have those middling initiative combos. And what the Boots of Speed do for certain classes is they allow you to use those combos with a little bit less risk. So take the Brutes combo of Skewer and Spare Dagger. The initiative on this is not very good. You're in the pocket, you're standing in front of a monster, you need to do a bottom attack with Spare Dagger and top with Skewer, and the initiative, you're like, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And if you don't kill the monster, let's say you're going to die, right? Boots of Speed, you can go, okay, now I can probably gamble because I'm going to be able to reduce my initiative if I need to. You still have to be careful about certain monster types. There's some monsters where gambling, even at 17 initiative, is going to get you in hot water. So you do have to, play the monster a little bit. But what this does is it allows you to gamble a little bit more with initiatives that aren't quite as early as you would like. And lots of times you can gamble and then not even use the Boots of Speed. So they're almost like this buffer that allows you to take a little bit of extra risk, but sometimes you don't have to use it. So yeah, you have to tap it when you do use it, but you might get a couple gambles, let's call them, and without actually having to use the item. And that's really where the value of these come in. I think I probably use them more often than a lot of other people, just because I really believe that manipulating your initiative is very, very useful. And I think a lot of beginning players, they don't realize how important it is to manage your initiative, to go late sometimes and move into position and then attack the next turn at really low initiative and move out of the way, stuff like that. There's a lot you can do. And so to me, these are quite a good item. They are good up until about Prosperity 6, where there's going to be some pretty heavy competition, very heavy competition, but still, they're still quite a good item, even though they are expensive. But, make sure that you've got the right class for these boots. Like the Scoundrel, you're not going to use them when you're the Scoundrel. Hopefully that helped. If it did, I just want to let you know I've got a Patreon. I'm a small channel. That's the best way to support me. It doesn't cost, it's like a couple bucks. I put a lot of work into putting out this content, even though I do ramble at times, and it's it's a fun job, but still, I got to pay the bills. So if you're finding the videos helpful, check out my Patreon. Also, another thing you can do is follow me on Twitter. I'll put a link to both in the pinned comments, and let's get on to the Cloak of Pockets. Last but not least, we have the Cloak of Pockets, one of my favorite items. I just like carrying a buttload of items. I do. I almost swore there, then I would have had to have bleeped myself. I have bleeped myself in a couple videos, but not a lot. It's such a good item. Small items are some of the most powerful in the game, and this allows you to carry even more of those game-breaking items like the Minor Stamina Potion. And also what it does that I think a lot of people overlook is that it gives you flexibility. So I think a lot of, experienced players, they kind of skew more towards absolute power. And that's fine. It's true. It makes sense for people who are really good at Gloomhaven and understand how, all the mechanics work and who understand monsters really well and movement and stuff like that. It makes sense to talk about absolute power as to what is the best. But what people don't talk about is that 98% of Gloomhaven players are not power players. Maybe it's let's say 90%, right? Most people are not power players. And what the Cloak of Pockets does is it gives you flexibility because you can have a healing potion, a power potion, a minor mana potion, stun powder, blah. You know what I'm saying? So when you have all those items, it gives you options because you may not necessarily know what's going to happen. Maybe it's Sunday night, you've had a couple beers, you're playing Gloomhaven with your friends. You're not sitting there mapping everything out ahead mapping everything out ahead of time in your mind and understanding exactly what's going to happen. You just kind of like, well, I think, Bob's probably going to attack because that's what he does. And, Larry over here is, going to sit back because he's cautious. And so I'm going to play these cards and hope that I'm, going to go ahead of Bob and be, before Larry, whatever. Right? And so I think a lot of people are actually playing that way. I even play that way myself sometimes when I'm tired, where I'm more reactive. And so something like the Cloak of Pockets that allows us to have that bigger toolkit, it's actually much better for most players than people think. It's objectively not ultra powerful, but, in reality, it actually is very powerful. I think I've probably explained that enough. And it does last all the way through the game. Like you can use the Cloak of Pockets from, level 1 to level 9, from Prosperity 1 to Prosperity 9, no matter what point you're at in the game. Because, small items, as you, go up in Prosperity, they get better and better and they become more and more game breaking. And you're just going to keep using more of them. Anyways, I hope that made sense. Comment on that below because I think that flexibility is severely overlooked by the dominant people in the industry. Because most players, they're not these power gamers that are optimizing for every single point of damage and, they're not understanding. And this isn't a shot. I mean, most people are playing this game for fun. You play it for fun. Having flexibility makes it more fun and easier for you to do the right things without having a perfect picture ahead of time. Oh my god, I can't believe how much I just talked about that. Comment below. Thank you so much for watching the video, and a special thank you to my subscribers and to my patrons. I wouldn't be here without you. Crap. And it's really good for an item summon build. It's really good for an item summon build. I'm going to cut this part in. It's going to look janky because I forgot to say it and I said the thank you and everything first. However, it's important. Item summon build, it's a thing. I mean, I don't know if it's a real or amazing thing. It is a thing. Cloak Pockets is good for it.